Good evening. It's Melissa with Meraki Healing Arts. Let's try to get the camera straightened out here. So, it's New Year's Eve, and I had a couple of invites to go do some things tonight, but honestly, it's cold, it's icy, it's windy, and I just didn't want to take my chances. I kept having some weird, funky feeling about getting in an accident, being in an accident, so I decided to stay in, and I got home from work, and I was feeling a little tired, so I laid down, and my mind just would not shut off. So I just laid there and rested, just tried to calm my mind as much as I could. But I think it was that whole, just reflection on all the changes that this year brought and things that like goals that I have set for the year ahead. It's like literally like coming out of a cocoon or awaking from, sleepwalking through life. And excited. I'm excited about things that I want to do this year that I've put on hold. So I don't know. I feel like something's lifted, and it's real easy to get stuck sometimes, or I don't know, when you're going through things, when you've been through a lot of things, and you're at like the final leg of a marathon race of healing is how I look at it. And you don't even realize how far you've come until you look back and you reflect on it. And when you start to think about all the stuff that you've been through, not in like a, oh, poor me, but like just yeah, I did that. I got through that. I lived through that, and I lived to tell the tale. It can be really empowering when you realize that it didn't break you. Like, none of the crap that you went through broke you. Maybe for a minute, maybe temporarily, maybe for a while. But it didn't keep you down forever. And, there's so much power in that. So, yeah. So, I'm sure we'll get into it. We'll get into all that. But, I was talking with some clients today that came into work. And, I mean, I'm always talking to everybody. I'm Chatty Cathy. So, just... so, I work at a nonprofit, and we do treatment and counseling for people who have substance use disorders, so drugs, alcohol. I also have mental health counseling for everything under the sun you can think of, trauma, grief, loss, all kinds of mental health issues. And we also have medically assisted treatment, and we're opening a primary care facility. So, been in the city that I live in, they've been operating for more than 50 years. So, well-respected business. But my job, I am at the front desk. I'm a medical administrative assistant and case manager, who also happens to have my CDCA state license, which is a chemical dependency counselor assistant. So it's like a level 1 in the substance use disorder counseling field, of being able to give counseling and advice to people. I also have a meditation and mindfulness certificate, grief coach certification, Reiki certifications, sound healer certifications, a death doula certification. I had a STNA, but I let that lag. I really don't care to return to that field. So, yeah. So, but I'm the person at the front desk. I also manage and handle a resource room of clothing for the women that didn't exist before I got there, and a hygiene room so people can get some of the hygiene needs that, the EBT doesn't pay for, their SNAP card doesn't pay for. And I do urine collections, so a job that most people would be totally grossed out by, but you have to make people comfortable. So, because who wants to pee in front of a stranger? But they have to do it. So, yeah. So I truly enjoy working with people and talking with people and encouraging people and seeing their success stories and hearing their success stories. So today, I've been saying, since I've worked there a little over 2 years, and it's been like literally the best work environment I've ever been in. My boss is amazing. My coworkers are amazing. And I've been saying for a long time, I need some kind of a noisemaker when people come in and they tell me, some little bit of success. I'm 30 days sober. I finished my all of my requirements for the number of groups I needed to go to, or I'm allowed visitation with my kids again, or I got custody of my kids, or I got my first apartment after being homeless for a period of time. Whatever. These are, things that I hear on the regular. Of course, I see things where people also cry to me and tell me that they used again, or they drank again, or they went back to a toxic partner, and chiding themselves for a moment of not being at their best. But encouraging people is so much a part of my job. So I've been talking for quite a while about wanting to have like some kind of a noisemaker for those celebratory moments. So New Year's was just a great excuse to do it. So I took one of those annoying little noisemakers. I think I have one down on the floor. Oh, maybe. Did I bring them in? Yeah. Anyway. So everyone who came in the door today, because it was icy and cold, and just for walking in the door when they signed in at the front desk, I gave them a little, toot toot, and if they told me something great, they got another toot toot, So it may have annoyed people. I don't know. I asked the counselors, I'm like, I hope that isn't bothering you, that you can't hear it all the way around the building. They're like, no, I couldn't even hear it in my office. I'm like, well, everybody loved it. So, I made it a fun day, and I put on one of those cheesy New Year's Eve crown hats. So, just tried to make it a fun day. Yeah, but we're going to get into just some tarot reads eventually. I'm just chatty. But we were was talking with several people about, some of the things that you can do when you're going through, thinking about the year that you just went through and looking forward to the year ahead. And some of the things that I've done in the past for myself or with my family or friends or whatever suggested was that you could do a gratitude list of all of the things that were positive about the year that you just had, and speak that gratitude, write that gratitude out to the universe. Likewise, anything that's negative that you're releasing, you can write that down. If you want to forgive somebody, if you want to release hurt or resentment or anger, you can write that down and do a burn bowl ceremony. So get a fire safe bowl, metal or whatever, and write it and speak words to release it to the universe and ask for all negativity to be removed from your heart. You could do that for things that you feel are blockages, ask for them to be removed, and ask for you to be aligned with your highest timeline. So, and finally, you can write a list of your goals for the next year and write them all down, and put them somewhere that you'll remember. You could write them on little slips of paper and put them in a jar. And then when the next New Year's Eve rolls around, look at that and see, like, did you accomplish those goals? How far are you from those goals? Are they still the same goals that you had before? Where are you at with that? So, like a reflection of the things that you went through and what that year was like. So, just some ideas for New Year's Eve and things that you can do. And I also told everybody about our goofy family tradition. So we have a family tradition, and I'm going to do it. I haven't done it yet. So I live in Ohio. I live in Northeast Ohio. And years and years ago, my son is 32 now, but he was probably about 11 or 12 years old. We went to an event called the Walleye Drop. It's the Walleye Festival in Port Clinton, Ohio, up on Lake Erie. And the town is famous for walleye fishing, which, of course, spring and summer and part of fall, people go up to Lake Erie and the area near Port Clinton, and they have wonderful walleye fishing if you're into that. I love to fish. But in the winter months, who wants to go up to the icy cold lake? So they have a New Year's Eve event, and they kind of block off this couple block area, and all the fancy restaurants and bars are open there, and then they have a heated tent, and you can get these Mardi Gras beads that have fish on them. I have mine. I should put them on. They have a big stage. It is a sober event. If you want to have alcohol, you can get it in the restaurants and bars, but you can't walk around with it. It's a sober event for those of you like me in recovery. So it's a nice time for families or couples or whatever, without all that being in your face if you're trying to stay on the sober journey. So they have a big stage with live music, and they always have a fat Elvis impersonator, which I don't like Elvis at all, but it is kind of funny seeing someone in the fat Elvis costume, whatever. And so, and they have a person walking around in this walleye costume, Wally the walleye, and greeting everybody, one of those furry outfits. And then the big event is they have this big crane, and on it has like this huge, it's like a 600-pound fiberglass walleye fish. So, like the same crap a boat would be made out of. And at midnight, they do a big loud countdown, and they lower that down, and whoo, that's the whole big shebang. So what does that have to do with my New Year's Eve? So we went to this years ago when my son was real young. And at the time, he was our only child. And me and my ex-husband took him. And he loved it so much. He raved about it. And then, a couple of years after, we all came together as a family because my husband adopted him. Stepfather adoption. We adopted 2 kids, 2 separate trips from overseas, and they were always a little jealous that they didn't get to go to that event. They wanted to go, and every time that we would try to go, it was either like it's way too cold, the hotels are booked, one of the kids is sick, or one of the kids had like a surgery scheduled for during the Christmas, New Year's Eve holiday or whatever that they were healing from, or they had some big school event or scouting event or sporting event or something that like limited us from going. So I was like, I gotta recreate this. So I was like, well, what can I do? I could look for an ornament or something with a fish, with a walleye. I couldn't find anything, but I did find, I'm going to get it for you all. I'm going to go off camera for a second. I found a fish pillow. So this is the goofy fish pillow. You can see it. And we call it Timmy the Trout instead of Wally the Walleye. And I string it up on a string, and we would play board games all night and hang out. And then at midnight, the kids would fight over who gets to cut down Timmy the Trout. So why am I saying all that when I should be shuffling cards to do a tarot? Because life doesn't have to suck, y'all. It really doesn't have to suck. We all go through so many things in life. Everybody's struggling with money. Everybody. You can look at people and think they have it all together. They could even have a little bit of money in savings, but that doesn't mean they got it all like that. They know what their bills are. They know what, what their limitations are. So, yeah. So everybody's going through something, and you don't know what people are carrying that they're still healing from. So, but life doesn't have to be hard. And if you could make some goofy tradition or laugh, and make life not suck so much, that is the point of it all, isn't it? Isn't it great to laugh? And yeah, so I encourage you to do that. If you have some silly tradition, borrow mine if you want to. Make up your own, whatever. Have a sing-along, have a karaoke night, have a game night. Make that one of your traditions. You don't have to spend a lot of money with your family, your friends, or your partner to have a good time and relax and just enjoy life, because working and grinding all the time is not where it's all at. You got to have other things in life. So I encourage you to do that. All right, so I've been shuffling and chatting and talking. So the deck that I've been sitting here loving on and shuffling is the Keepers of Light. So I'm going to try to zone in now and wind my energy down. Man, am I like, my energy is really, really high energy tonight. So that little laying down in bed and reflecting on things has got me, yeah, my energy is wound tonight. So let's see. So Keepers of Light is a beautiful oracle deck. I believe this is by it's by Kyle Gray. And all of the cards in the Keepers of Light are ascended masters. So Buddhas, gods, goddesses, prophets who were incarnated on the earth plane, all different time periods, all different races, all different starseed families, with messages of ascension and healing and magical, mystical powers, who are still guides from the beyond. So tapping into this, man, pulling in some powerful energy here, being pulled to this deck right out the bat. So Keepers of Light, gonna ask who are our guides at this time that we should be calling in and aware of and give honor to and gratitude to. Trying to slow my energy down. Man, y'all, I need to get my hair dyed again. It looks so white up there. Oh well, that's just wisdom. That's what I'm telling myself. That's just wisdom. That's just your wisdom crown, baby. They talk about what do they call it? Is it the virgin? No, the maiden, the mother, and the crone or something. So yeah, I'm officially in my crone years, but at the beginning of my crone years. And we fear that so much, the whole aging process and becoming older and looking older. But there's so much wisdom and grace in those older years because we've learned all the crap. We've went through all the crap. We've healed from the lessons. And hopefully we're all making better choices at this point in the game. You know, we definitely aren't who we used to be. So if you knew me then, oh my gosh, we got a big old huge stack here. Really, all of these, Spirit? That's a lot. I'm gonna, out of these, I got like 6 or 8 cards. Okay, I guess this is what we're taking. I'm not gonna argue with it. Spirit is telling me stop arguing. Okay, I'm not gonna argue. Literally. Thank you, Spirit. So we have a lot of guides coming out tonight. So maybe when you see one, you will feel, yeah, I feel that, I resonate with that. So we're just gonna get, we're just gonna go through them one by one and talk about who they are and what their energy is about, and what you could call, what particularly you could call them in to aid and assist you with. So the first Ascended Master out from the Keepers of Light deck is Green Terra, and that was a Buddha, a Buddhist goddess, and Green Terra is for supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation and trust. God, that just made me feel so much peace. So much peace. You don't even know. So much peace. Thank you. Wow. That's why I was called to this tonight. Oh, good stuff. And the next card out is Gaia, Earth Connection. Be mindful of the planet. Come back to Earth and stay grounded. So if you are needing to feel more grounded, you can call on Gaia. Call on your connection to Earth and Earth as a Earth goddess. Be mindful of how you treat Earth and all of its creatures, all of the living things, the plants and the animals and the birds and the fish and everything. If you can't get outside like me, it's so cold and icy right now where I'm at. It's just too cold to really be out there any long amount of time. I've tried sitting out on my deck or going and driving over to the lake and sitting in my car with the heater on, and it's just so cold, y'all. But you can still get on the ground level of your floor and ground as much as you can. And I literally can never wait, like when it gets 30, 40 degrees, if you know, 50, if I see some grass poking out, you might catch me out there barefoot with my toes in the grass, because I need that earth energy so much. Yeah, so call on Gaia to ground. The next card out is Kalima. Woof! Fierce warrior goddess. Facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. Yeah, literally just fierce warrior protector. Busts through obstacles like gangbusters, y'all. So if you need to face your fears, Kalima. Kalima. And Kuan Yin. What a contradiction. What a contradiction. I'm very connected to Kuan Yin. I feel her energy around me a lot. I feel her in meditation. I see her in meditation. So yeah, care and compassion for yourself and others. The card says, choose to be loved. Do what is right for everyone involved. Offer a helping hand. It can be so hard to do that sometimes when, you know, if you have a history of overgiving to others. But when you know someone is really struggling, how do you not help? How do you not help? And just say, you know, how do you not help a homeless person? How do you not help someone who's struggling through addiction? How do you not help a friend who's in need? How do you not? So Care and compassion. I know we talk about boundaries all the time. We really do. So you have to use your own discernment in that. But sometimes we just give with a free and loving heart because we have care and compassion for other people. That just is all there is to it. It's not any. Um, it's not because we need people to love us. It's because we don't want to see anyone hurt the way that we've ever had to hurt, or anyone lack the way we've ever had to lack. So care and compassion. Call on Kuan Yin if you need to embody more care and compassion in your life. I'm hearing caregivers. So for those of you who are caregivers, that is really a hard job. Yeah, really a hard job. If you're in the nursing field, if you're taking care of a sick child or an aging parent, an aging partner, call on Kuan Yin to give you additional compassion in your role as a caregiver. Paul the Venetian, experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. Not really familiar with that Ascended Master, so I guess I will have to learn more. And Odin, Viking warrior god, psychic insight. Your third eye is open. See truth for what it is. Follow your intuition. I love that staff of truth and love that fierce Viking spirit. So, can call on Odin to help you with your psychic insight and intuition. And Mother Mary. I am not Catholic, but I have had repeated messages this year that I'm working with Mother Mary energy. So I have a local medium that I know, like, I have to connect with this medium because he works with Mother Mary energy all the time. And I actually had a Mary statue, antique statue that I sent through a friend to him. But love and peace, Mother Mary energy. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. Yeah, I'm struggling with that, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I love my mom as much as I can love her. And people would be shocked to know that I have hurt and resentment around my mom. But I do. I have... y'all. So my mom is a little teeny tiny bird of a woman. She's in her 70s, and she almost died like 26 years ago. She had a brain aneurysm burst, and she came to live with me for quite some time. And although she hasn't lived with me that whole 26 years, I have been her primary of her 3 kids. I've been her primary, like, caregiver, support person, I guess, taken on that role. And I've had to really balance moments when I need to step back and allow her to have her independence and be on her own and all of that. But it's hard because I know she struggles, and I know that she could use more help. But I've offered to let her move back in again because my dad died the year that my mom almost died. My mom almost died in January of 99, and my dad died 6 months later in June. But she did remarry, and she was married for like 17 years, and then he had cancer. Sam had cancer, and my mom, was his caregiver at home, much like I was a caregiver to my partner, one of my partners, my last partner. So, she's still grieving, and but she wants to remain on her own as long as she can, and I get that. I totally get that. we as women, as wives and mothers, we give a lot to our children, and we don't always do for ourselves or get to live in that independence moment. And I think it's interesting to see her for the first time in her life. She has not had her parents or her siblings or a husband or her children, and it is solely her. So she and I are really, really have been going through the same thing for the last couple of years. And I was going through it first, and now she's going through it. And that allows me, I guess, to understand where she's at, that you don't necessarily want to give up that independence because it's your first taste of it. And while you miss your partner and you miss your kids, you're forming like a whole new identity of who you are and becoming empowered in that. And so who would want to just give that away? Certainly not going to give it away to another partner who doesn't bring wonderful things into your life and allow you to have your independence and your empowerment and your peace. Doesn't mess up your finances. She and I both were with people who have messed up our finances or taken from us or lied to us about financial things, or were verbally or physically abusive, or were cheaters or whatever. So we've had some bad pickers. So when you finally get to that moment of like, a wild woman out on here on my own without a partner, it can shake your foundation. Actually talk about that in the grief and I have a group that I lead at work called Journeys, Grief and Loss and Recovery. So for people who are on the sober path, we discuss grief, and not just grief from death, but all the grief and loss that you could experience in life that you're struggling with while you're trying to get sober or maintain your sobriety. And people don't think about that. But so say you lost somebody through death, or you ended a relationship, a marriage, or you severed ties with your family, or they cut ties with you, or you cut ties with the people, places, and things that you used to go to all the time. All of a sudden, you're not doing those things because you're sober and the other people are not. It can be very isolating. And now you're grieving the loss of those people, the loss of those connections, the loss of your identity and your role in those environments. And you're having to forge a whole new path and focus on the future and not just keep looking behind you, and try to form your new identity without all those people, places, and things in your life, and find out, it's the whole, who am I? And if you had if you had a bunch of losses when you were still numbing yourself, and then you take away the substance, it hits you really hard. That isolation hits you really hard. And you can feel very, very alone. So hopefully, if you're going through that and you're on the sober path, you have a good counselor, a therapist, a peer support, a sponsor, a sober community that is not just your NA or AA or Smart Recovery or Recovery Dharma meetings, but like a multitude of sober people who you start building into your new network of your new soul tribe, your new support, because it's really, really hard to just do life alone for anybody. But when you're healing grief and trauma and you're healing addictions, you need that network. So, yeah. So, I guess this is, with it being the ending of a year and going into the new year, I'm just really thinking about all of this. I'm just on fire, like thinking about all of this, because it's transitions. I guess that is what I'm going to call this read. Transitions. Yeah. So transitioning from a former year, a former mindset, a former identity into the new. And it's not just a turning of the page, but and the new year, doesn't really start until like Aries season or whatever. But anyway, energetically, we're so conditioned, at least where I live in America, to to have this mindset: new year, new me, right? And you're releasing. It's all about releasing things that no longer serve you and setting goals for and intentions for what you want in the future. And so it is a big transition. It's an energetic transition. It's it's an energy realignment. Yeah. So wow, I think about that. All the different jobs that I've had, that's where it's coming in. Thank you, Spirit. All the different jobs that I've had, people would be like, oh my God, you've done so many weird things. How's that all fit together? And the majority of the jobs that I've had in my life have been helping people through transitions, helping them to change and transition and remove limiting mindsets from who they are, helping them through changes, big changes. So, yeah, I was in the military. I was in the Air Force. I did 911 dispatch at Mayor's Court for years, and then managed a group home for MRDD individuals and tried to encourage them to learn and grow and communicate and socialize and live their most independent and empowered life. And then I worked in a nursing home and helped a lot of people transition through health issues and through their final days. And I've been that person my whole life. I started taking care of an autistic boy when I was 11 years old, babysitting him because my dad was laid off and I needed money for school clothes. So, he was young. And so, yeah, I've always been trying to help people like be their best. Yeah. And my boss at the job that I'm at now, when she saw my resume, was like, I was kind of baffled at like, how does this all fit together? And she's like, but I can see everything you did. You were kind of like in a helping others. And that's it's in my North Node. So yeah, I've been in my life purpose since I was 11. And we think about it and we question ourselves sometimes. What is my purpose? Am I living it? Am I doing it? And it really, for so many of us, it's a unfolding and it's a layers and it's a building. I've also been a caregiver for so many family and friends as they were sick and dying, and I helped them transition. So yeah, transitions is where it's at. It's making me think of this conversation. I have a whole spread here out, so bear with me, y'all. I'm just chatting. So if you like it, keep listening, and we will get to the reads. My partner, when he was alive, he told me one time, we had this conversation, and because it was during COVID times, and so I was working at an MRDD day center, and it had closed down. It had been shut down because they couldn't socially distance, so their guardians didn't want them coming into the day center. So we were closed down. We were put on unemployment for a while, and then when the unemployment was ending, I needed another job, so I was scrambling to try to find another job. And that's when I went into nursing care work eventually. But I was having this conversation with my partner. I'm going to say his name today because I'm going to call you in around me so your energy can be here with me. Lucius Lorenzo Washington was his name. But later in life, he liked to be called Lorenzo. So people who knew him from way back in elementary called him Lucius or Little Luke or Baby Bra. But he, at the end of his life, preferred to be called by his middle name, which was Lorenzo. All kinds of reasons for that. But his analogy to me was so beautiful. And he said, you're sanctified. I said, what are you talking about? What does that mean? You're like, I kind of know what it means. And he said, sanctified is when God sets you aside. You're set aside. You're set aside for his purpose. And he said, if you think about it like the whole bloom where you're planted, right? So the Most High will pluck you up and set you where he needs you for a time and a purpose and a season. And during that time and that purpose and that season, you are learning, you are growing, and you are touching lives, and you're being a light to other people. And then when your part of that journey is over and you have done what you needed to do in that place and at that location with that group of people, and you're ready for like a lot, I guess I would call it like your next mission, right? Your next purpose, the next part of your purpose unfolding, then God will pluck you up like a plant from the garden and plant you someplace else. So for those of you who've went through a lot of transitions in life, and you've went through career changes and moves from one area to another, and shifting your mindset and all kinds of things, and it can feel like a starting over all the time, starting over. Just know that maybe you are that you're being plucked up because you have a purpose in life, and you're being set into places and rooms and environments and communities that your unique experience and your unique personality and the things that you've been through and how you can talk about it and talk to someone is going to touch their soul and help other people to transition and grow. So if you're doing that, you may not even be aware of it. Like literally, you could be a cook, you could be a cashier, you could be working in, you just working in a gym, or you're a tarot reader, or whatever. You're working a front desk, and you can think like, I haven't had the success in life that I want, because we're valuing it by like cash in hand, right? Which is a nice thing to have your needs be met. But there's so much beauty in life when you can appreciate your journey and appreciate all the changes. So yeah. Okay, that was the ramble. That was the channeled message, y'all. I can't help it. I can't help how long it goes or what comes out. It just is what it is. So the next read was the Spirit Animal Oracle by Collette, Barin, Reid. And we had a bunch fly out while I was rambling. We have Dolphin Spirit. This and that are true. So what do they call that? It's not cognitive dissonance. It's not that. It's I can't think of the word right now. It's I'm drawing a blank. Dolphin Spirit. This and that are true. Two things can be true at the same time. Yeah, two things can be true at the same time. That hurt the hell out of me, and I'm grateful for the lesson, and I'm grateful for what I went through, because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. You have people in your life. I loved this person, but they were loving over here, and yet they were wounded over here. And how can that be? My own dad was like a Jekyll and Hyde. I've dated people who were Jekyll and Hyde, and you can love one part of them, and yet this unhealed part is so horribly not okay. So two things could be true at one time. How do you reconcile that? How can you reconcile that two things can be true at one time? It just is. It just is. You can absolutely, it's okay to love someone and say, but they hurt me. It's okay to say, I loved my parent, but they were not the best parent. I loved my partner, but they were not the best partner. How you transition to that place of acceptance is true love and forgiveness for that person, and saying, I see that you are human, and you, every person on earth, if you can imagine them as a little child, and what did they go through in their childhood and their life that made them who they were, and if somewhere inside all of us that little child is still not healed, didn't get the love or support they needed, or maybe they were emotionally or physically or sexually beaten or traumatized or verbally, just belittled. And then they repeat that pattern with their other relationships, and they keep going to toxic partners and seeking out, on again, off again, roller coaster relationships of passion and fighting and blocking and this and that, and, or domestic abuse or whatever. All that unhealed stuff. It's because that inner child isn't healed. That trauma or things they went through in their life isn't healed. And when it's not healed, what do? We can hurt other people because we're still unhealed. We can end up falling into addiction because we're trying to numb the pain that we could not stand. So that's where that Kuan Yin energy of love and compassion comes in, and you say, I see that you are a human and you are a person who only had the tools in their toolbox to get through life. You only, if your parents didn't have healthy relationships, if they didn't have healthy relationships, you didn't get all the tools to have healthy relationships. So how could you have a healthy relationship? You're only seeing what, they showed you this tool, and that was all you had. So I have a whole big thing I wrote about that. Some people come into life and they're given all the tools because they had this lovely home and their parents were healthy and loving and healed, and they had a good marriage and good communication, and they weren't lacking in, for financially. So they didn't have struggle after struggle after struggle to have to figure out, well, what tool do I need to build my way up out of this struggle and pull myself up out so that I'm not like crabs in a barrel pulling myself and others down and repeating cycles and patterns. So some people had everything. They had the whole garage. They had all the toolbox and all the power tools and metric and standard and all that crap. And they not only had the tools, but they were taught how to use them all consistently. But some of us, it was like, well, here's a shoe and a nail, and figure it out. You don't even have a saw. You don't have power tools. You don't even have a hammer. You got a rusty nail in a shoe. Figure it out. What are you going to do in life? What are you going to do? You got to figure it out. You got to gain the tools. So hopefully you're learning through good people around you, counseling, therapy, AA, smart recovery dharma, mental health, a therapist, whatever you need to heal yourself, and meditation and grounding and aligning your chakras and all the things so that you're taking care of yourself mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, and getting yourself in alignment so that you're a healed person and you can be love and give love. Wow. This is such a confirmation. All right. Yep. So the dolphin spirit was one thing can be true, this and that. Two things can be true at the same time. There's light and dark in us all, male and female, yin and yang, and our job is to find the tools so that we can find our balance. Yep. Bee spirit, sweet results await. Confirmation. So I prefer the nickname Missy, but my name is Melissa, and it means queen bee, which is kind of comical because I'm allergic to bees. But I had several things come out today. I've been seeing bees, hearing about bees, and having bees prominent in tarot reads that I listen to here and there through the week. So bee spirit, flitting around place to place, pollinating things, helping them grow, busy, and all of that hard work that you're doing, you're pollinating things and helping them grow and helping things to transition, maybe within yourself, maybe within your community, your family, your children. But that spirit is around you. That animal spirit of the bee is around you to help you pollinate and grow and help things to change. Crow spirit, you are co-creating with spirit. So crows are messengers. Sometimes it's this is interesting. Crows can be very, very gossipy. What I'm hearing, you're co-creating with spirit, but you're getting some of the tea and the gossip to protect you. That's what I'm getting. You are receiving downloads in your dreams or in messages that are coming to you to protect you from people, places, and things around you, situations and choices, so that you can have a very keen discernment. So crows, messages, discernment, and you're hearing the tea. You're hearing it, seeing it, feeling it, and knowing it. You literally have a knowing that's helping you move forward with the transition. Dear spirit, bring a gentle touch to everything you do. Deer are one of the many animal spirits that I work with, so I really love that. Bring a gentle touch to everything you do in your words and deeds and actions with others. My back is, I'm feeling all these waves of energy going on my back right now. And coyote spirit, trust in divine detours. So what I'm getting from this is that whole divine timing, moving you away from things that are not in alignment. Detours, sometimes we think that we got off our path, and why were we detoured, and why was I taken over here? It was divinely guided. Something, person, person, place, or thing was put in your path for a divine purpose. It was a divinely orchestrated detour because you were protected by the Most High to help you on your soul's growth, your purpose, and your mission, to get you into alignment for the next step of your journey. So trust your guides, trust the Most High, trust your ancestors, stay in alignment, ask for their help, ask for direction, and ask for the understanding to come through when you're ready, when you're ready to hear it. So, I love that. Beautiful message. Y'all, I am chatty. All right, I pulled out 4 decks, so I guess these are the 4 that we're doing for the transitions read. Medicine Woman Oracle, Catherine Millard is the name of this next deck. And it's here. Beautiful deck, one of my favorites. So, what do we have from this? Spirits, guides, and ancestors for the transitions read, for the general collective, give us the messages we need to hear for the greatest and highest good for all. Give us the message we need to hear. Got a bunch. Thank you, Spirit. Oh, I thought we had a bunch. We have 2. Autumn, a time for letting go. Lighten your load. One of my favorite songs, Erykah Badu, Bag Lady. Bag Lady, lay your burdens down. I love that. So, laying down burdens of your past. I can just hear the music, y'all. I can hear the music right now. Peg light. I'm trying to hear all the words now. I am zoning out because I can hear something else going on in the house right now. So anyway, pack light, meaning quit carrying the burdens of your past. Whether that was limiting beliefs that you got from your parents, partners, family system, former employers, yourself, limiting mindsets that you believed, your past hurts, your past traumas. Transition. We're transitioning from this year into the next year, and you're being asked to lay those burdens down. And that is your song to go listen to, Erykah Badu, Bag Lady. And yes, it applies to men too. Lay that shit down. Just lay it down. All the things you need to lay down that no longer serve you. You cannot receive blessings when you're holding on to hurts of the past. If you have your hands full of crap over here, how can the universe give you anything else? So I know it's hard. Trust me, I know. Y'all don't even know all the stuff I've been through in my life. Like, for real. Too much. Too much. But you gotta let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Unconditional love. I remind you of the magic of love. You are blessed. The unconditional love of the Creator, Source, your guides, your ancestors. Unconditional love for yourself. You have to feel it for yourself. You have to truly feel it for yourself so that you are in your highest alignment. So that you can set boundaries when needed, so that you can be compassionate and understanding to others, even if you have not walked their journey, so that you could give them grace when needed and just love people where they're at. People are not always going to be where you want them to be emotionally or whatever. They're just not, because we're all at different places on the journey. So stop freaking judging people so harsh. I don't know why I'm feeling this right now so strong, but stop judging people so freaking harsh. I get sick and tired of that. And I get it because I've had to cut so many people out of my life sometimes. So maybe I need to hear this message too. But sometimes we have to set limits with people because they've just hurt us over and over and over and over and taken advantage of us over and over and over and over. Or they've just said hateful, hurtful words. And just been downright nasty to us. So I'm not ever saying to ever take any kind of verbal or physical or financial abuse from somebody. Don't do it. You don't have to do it. Love yourself more than that. But likewise, we are supposed to unconditionally love people. It doesn't matter their race. It doesn't matter their sexual orientation. That doesn't freaking matter. I've never, ever believed that mattered from the time I was little and I couldn't understand. Talk about a cycle breaker. I remember being little, being in freaking preschool and kindergarten and not understanding why. My dad didn't want me to be friends with certain people, he had hate towards certain people, and I could not could not for the life of me understand it, and it makes me mad to this day. So stop judging people and making them sound like they're a piece of crap because they're not where you are on your leg of your spiritual journey. That's, you're setting yourself up on a freaking pedestal with, a high and mighty attitude and judging people. Yeah, we want people to heal, but people are not going to heal with judgment being thrown at them, not from the church, not from the tarot community, whatever. I get it. You want people to have healthy boundaries and have healthy relationships and healthy lives, but really, can we try not to be so frickin' judgy to people who are different from us or people who are not yet where you are on your journey? So I needed to hear it too. I've been guilty of it too. I'm recognizing it right now. We're gonna work on unconditional love to others who are not yet where we are on our journey, and to ourselves. So, yeah. Thank you, Spirit, for telling me, giving me some very direct messages tonight. I'm not going to talk about it all because I know what I need to release. If you have mother wounds or father wounds or family wounds or whatever, or a partnership that you're releasing, or one that you're going to release the anger and the hatred or the jealousy or the pettiness or whatever, so that maybe you want to still heal it to a degree that person can be in your life. I'm not telling you what to do, but if there's someone that is still going to be a part of your life, but you need to release some anger and resentment towards that person, work on that. So you could write down the gratitude for the good and the releasing of the anger and the hurt. You can do that both. Those lists that I talked about, there we go. Those lists that I talked about, you could write a gratitude and a releasing, a gratitude and a releasing. There's also some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful meditations that you can do. Go online to recoverydharma.com and you can find the books and some of the guided meditations, and you can read or print out from the book, and you can listen to guided meditations for compassion, forgiveness, equanimity. Equanimity is amazing. I highly, highly suggest you do that. If you're trying to release resentment or anger towards somebody. So with that meditation, I talk about this one all the time. I tell people about it all the time. So you go into meditation with an acceptance of I am me and you are you. And you start with a neutral party, someone that you don't really have anything real negative or positive about that person. They're very neutral. And then you meditate and you send just an acceptance, loving feelings to that person. And then you do that for a period of time. And then you move on to the next person, place, or thing. And that is someone who is a little more troubling to you. And you go through the meditation again. And then finally, you move on to a third person, place, or thing, or situation who was the most troubling to you. And I kind of, in my mind, I liken it to you are energetically building up that energy before you have to confront your feelings to the most difficult, which I think is a beautiful method. An interesting thing that I have done with it that it's not taught in the book, but I have done it for myself, is to not just do it for a person, for a set of 3 people, but you can do it for yourself. Timelines. Me as this young person at this age, this is pretty neutral. Me at this age, I really have to forgive myself. I hate myself for this that I did at this age. And then the worst that you ever were, your darkest self that you have to forgive, would be your final meditation. So you can do it to yourself and timelines, right? And send that energy and that love to the different timelines to you. You can do it to another person, one person along the continuum, but timelines. So you're energetically shifting timelines and transforming and transmuting those timelines and events to heal them and heal your relationship with them. So, woo! All right, we got a flipper. I was like, okay, we're ready. We're ready for more cards now, Spirit. Thank you. We're ready. We're ready. Okay, the wild feminine, another wolf on the deck. Awaken your she-wolf instinct, that primordial force. So very solar plexus, wild feminine, exploring, explorative, powerful, has a voice. She's a leader, very rooted, very grounded, all of those lower, really all of them in alignment, but very powerful, very rooted and grounded. So root chakra, sacral, you're creative, you own your sexual power and your sexual sovereignty, that you get to decide what is okay with you. And your sexual creative, your sacral energy, which is also a creative energy, and then your solar plexus, which is like just, powerful, strength, kind of thing. So all of that is coming through with that wild feminine card. Awaken your she-wolf instinct and that primordial force. So being called to do that, you can call on the power of the she-wolf if you want. Apparently I have a big feminine collective that's going to be watching tonight, but honestly, men, you have yin and yang in you, and men really are being called to connect with their feminine energy and connect with the creative side of you and the nurturing side of you as well. And think about your female counterparts, your, your mothers, your aunties, your daughters, your partners, the women you would date, your friends, and how are you honoring the divine and wild feminine in them? Are you allowing her to be empowered and have a voice? Because that is what it's all about. Not belittling her, not controlling her, but allowing her to be her strongest self, because the tribe and the pack, the community, the world as a whole needs a strong feminine and masculine. So it can't be one over the other. There has to be balance. Okay. Personal power. I encourage you to be the master of your destiny. I like this because it really reminds me of Taurus. And so you are the master of your destiny, no matter what you have already been through this last year or in your entire freaking life. Every day, it's not just I can turn the page and write a new chapter or line or whatever, but you can close it and book a whole book entirely and write a whole new book. You don't ever have to stay stuck. You're not limited by anything. Don't ever let anything in the world tell you that you're limited. You're limited. You're limited. You're not. What are you limited by? You're limited by what you believe. You're limited, yeah, we all have limitations. I have physical limitations. I have limitations with my sight. Everybody has, our IQ is what our IQ is, but that doesn't mean you can't pick up a book and learn. That doesn't mean you can't watch videos and learn. That doesn't mean you can't have conversations and learn and learn and learn. We're always learning, hopefully, through our whole life. Everyone has the aptitude to learn and grow and change. So, encourage yourself and others around you to do so, and acknowledge that everyone does it at their own pace, but we all have our, you have your own personal power. Don't let anyone take it away. When you're talking about energetically, in the spiritual community, we know all about that. Get your spiritual protection up, call back your own power if you need to. If you're releasing from relationships, here's a good one, y'all. I'm gonna give you one of my most powerful mantras for calling back your power from somebody. Yeah, okay. Here's what you're going to say. Get a pen and paper if you want to. You're going to say, I call back my power from all people, places, events, and timelines, from all contracts made knowingly or unknowingly that were not in alignment for my greatest and highest good and purpose. Any contracts made against my will that do not allow me to be my most powerful, sovereign being. I call back my power to be returned to me, whole, healed, and transmuted. And so it is, and so it shall be. Ashe. So, yeah, that's a big one. That's a strong one. Envision, says the Oracle of Delphi, who can't frickin' see, especially out of this left eye. I give you confidence in your divination talents. Thank you very much. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Yeah, we were feeling that. That was a powerful read tonight, a powerful shift tonight. So for those of you who were working on your divination powers, there's big changes coming, big energetic changes coming. You're already going through it. You're learning. Your gifts are unfolding. Yeah. Maybe, the first card out being autumn, maybe you started going through shifts in autumn, and by this time next autumn, yeah, the things that you're letting go of, that Erica Badu, Bag Lady, Let Your Burden Down, you've already let go of a ton, and by next year, it's gonna feel like just the cement blocks are off your feet, they're off your heart. I talk about grief is like this elephant that's sitting on your chest. You're not even going to realize all the things that you've done and changed. And I'm seeing the whole doctor says, oh, the places you'll go. And then the next card was the unconditional love. I remind you of the magic of love. You are blessed. So be that, embody that, know that it's all around you. The wild feminine, you're awakening your she-wolf instincts and your primordial force. Divine feminine power. Personal power. I encourage you to be the master of your destiny. So we're just going through them again real quick. And vision. I give you confidence in your divination talents. So, yep. So tribe, that's what you're doing. That's what your spirits, guides, and ancestors are bringing in and around you. And your affirmations. You've been hearing use those as affirmations. And our last card in our transitions pull is the Earth Power Oracle. Funny, I didn't even know what decks I was pulling. I pulled out a whole bunch because I was going to go to a tarot share event, and because of the weather I didn't go. And I just pulled out 4 decks and plunked them down, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that one. Oh yeah, I like that one. I literally was like, what am I pulling? I pulled 4, and it was like, yep, those. So apparently that's where the messages were coming from tonight. So this is the Earth Power Oracle by Stacy DeMarco, an atlas for the soul. Ooh, I never paid attention to those words at the bottom of the deck. An atlas for the soul. So this is kind of a map. Maybe this is where you're going. Maybe this is where you're being called to. Maybe this is where you had a past life. I wasn't doing a past life read, Spirit. Spirits, guides, and ancestors, give us the message we need to see. What are we doing here with the Atlas for the Soul, the Earth Power? Oh, now we had a flipper. I'm going to let that one, I'm going to take that one. Tana Lot. Ooh, I've never heard of this. Oh, this makes sense. Tana Lot. I'm going to have to look that up because I have no idea what that is. But it says the places in between are important for my growth. Transitions, you all. You're at the in between. You know where you've come from and you know where you want to go with your spiritual journey and your healing, but you're not there. You're in the in between. We're transitioning from one year to the next. The in between transitions. This is so in alignment for this read. Ooh. I can release myself from worry and suffering if I choose. I now let go of all that no longer serves me. What a freaking powerful card to come out. Oh, Spirit, I love this read. This was so beautiful. I really hope someone sees it. I was going to go live and I didn't, but I'm going to post it up. I'm going to put this on TikTok and YouTube and go from there. And my ears are hurting. They're ringing right now. So I am going to close this read out and take a breath and take a breather. But thank you all for joining. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and comment. Help me get the message out there. This was some powerful shit, y'all. This was some powerful shit, if I do say so myself. I don't know, maybe I sound like a rambling fool, but I feel like this was a really powerful read. So please share it with everyone that you can and get the message out there so that people, especially the divine feminine in us, male and female, hears the message, receives the message, and it helps them as they transition through cycles in their life, changes that they're going through, their spiritual journey, their healing journey, and transitioning from, as we do so often on a new year, releasing the old and welcoming in the new and the changes and the what's ahead and looking forward. So please, please, please share the read and get that message out there to everybody that you can. It's got a lot of stuff in there to really help people. So not tooting my own horn, but I'm like, people need to hear this. So, all right, y'all, have a beautiful, beautiful night. I might get back on later. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my ear over here. It's feeling funky. So I need to rest my voice and my, just calm my energy for a minute. So, all right, y'all have a great night. Safe New Year's Eve. And